Hi, Peter Charles here, Hooked for Life Fly Fishing. And if you've seen some of my recent videos, you've seen me talking about the problems with hackles and feather wings and trying to turn a decent fly out of very crooked feathers and trying to glue them together. It's a disaster. You don't want to go there. So the question came up, how do we straighten these things? Well, we can use a number of methods, and one of the methods is to use heat. So I'm going to show you the rig I'm using, and we're going to actually try to straighten a feather and see what happens. If you look at down here, you see two feathers. One is that I've already straightened, and the other one I've just pulled off of the saddle hackle pack. I'm just using cheap saddle hackle, and that's all I want to use for these flies. I mean, I'm not tying works of art. I've said that many, many times in many, many videos. I tie flies to fish. So I'm not going to put thousands of hours and thousands of dollars into material to try to get perfect feathers. So I have to deal with what I have. So as you can see in this particular example, there's a pretty straight feather, and there's what it looked like when I started, because that's another feather out of the same pack, and they look the same. And if we look at this particular feather, we can see that it's got a significant curve that way. Even when I hold it the other way, it still doesn't bend, and it curves really badly that way. So this has got a compound curve in it. It's not too bad to deal with a feather with one curving in one direction, but when they're curving in two directions, it gets a bit tricky. So how am I going to handle this? Well, I made myself an ironing board. This is just a tea towel on a 2x4. And it's pull taut, and I've folded it over, so it's folded over what? 2, 4, 6, 8 times. So there's 8 thicknesses here to give it some cushion, so I'm not ripping the feather up. Now, I went and bought this yesterday. This is a sealing iron that you can get at hobby shops that sell radio-controlled model aircraft. This stuff is used for sealing the wing material, the fabric that they put over the wings and the fuselage of the plane. It's plastic and it's a heat shrink, so they use this to do it. And you can see I put it on setting number 5, which is around 200 degrees Celsius, about 390 Fahrenheit roughly. And so you need it hot enough to get it to work. You don't want it too hot though, because it will eventually end up frying the feathers. Okay, let's get started with this feather. Yeah, it's hot. And I'm just going to apply some heat, and I'm going to pull the feather out from underneath the iron to straighten it. So I'm going to get a good grip on it and just pull nice and slowly. Look at that. See how straight it's become? Now you let that cool in that position, and it will keep that shape. One pull. Just pull out from underneath the iron on that kind of ironing board, and then just let it sit to cool, and it'll be nice and straight. And it doesn't get much easier. And if you've got a really bad curve, if you pull up against the iron in opposite direction to the curve, it will actually change the curve. You could actually put a curve into a feather. Let me get this straight feather, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here's the straight one. So I'm going to put my iron down. I'm going to pull up at an angle. Look at the curve I put into it. So if you want to curve a feather, all you have to do is pull at an angle, and whether you pull it up or up and sideways, you'll put quite a curve into the feather. So you can do it both ways. You can curve feathers when you want them curved, and you can straighten them when you want them straightened, and it takes one pull to do it. Pretty simple, isn't it? So if you've got some really bad curved feathers and you want to straighten them, this is $40 Canadian. It's not expensive. You get them in any shop that sells radio-controlled model aircraft. And you can use it for a bunch of other things. My wife took a look at this and said, "Oh, I can use that." And I said, "Yes, dear," when I'm finished. Anyway, give it a try. Straightening feathers. Cheers.